Welcome to the Gate 7 International Podcast, your official English source for all things Olympiacos FC and Greek football.
The first day of training is when I realized, this is why they win the league every year.
When I spoke with Kevin, if I gonna sign or no for Olympiacos, he said, you are crazy, go direct, my friend.
Να πετύχω ήθελα να μείνω στην ιστορία του Ολυμπιακού.
I can't speak, sure.
Yeah.
Έλα μαλάκα!
Σάγα πάρα πολύ Πειραιάς. Είμαι Γαύρος πάντα, όλοι μαζί.
What's happening, everybody? This is Costa from Gate 7 International, your number one English source for all things Olympiacos. We finally had the Champions League draw 15th of June today, and guess what? Maccabi Haifa is the opponent in the second qualification round of the Champions League. I can't say I was surprised. It was almost like a foregone conclusion for me that we would draw an Israeli team. It's probably the toughest pick of the bunch out of the teams that were possible opponents tonight. Having said that, really, guys, we shouldn't be complaining. This is the second round of the Champions League. Despite what our record is against Israeli sides, this really is a game that we should be winning. If we want to play with the big boys in the Champions League, then we have to be beating a team like Maccabi Haifa. We're going to get into all of those things. We're going to talk about the draw. We're going to talk about the opponent. Arabi signed his contract today. We can talk about that. More changes in the backroom staff, again, announced today. Transfer updates, the usual. So it's been a while since it feels like a while since we've done a live, at least for me. So guys, it's just you guys following, and I'm solo tonight. I will be dropping a link later on in the chat for those of you that would like to join, come on the show, have a chat with me about all these issues, talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. That's why we're here. Before we get into it, please make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hitting the like button, it helps to get the episode out to more people, and subscribing helps us to keep doing what we love doing, which is being here for you guys, talking about our favorite team. And it's a great way to express your support. Thanks very much, everybody. Now, all right, let's get into this. Maccabi Haifa then. Maccabi Haifa are the Israeli champions. They've won the league last season as well. So 2 seasons in a row they've won the league. Let's get into the facts. So this is a team that we will be facing on the 19th of July, 19th or 20th of July, away from home in the first leg. The second leg will be at Karaiskaki. So we'll be returning to Karaiskaki 26th or the 27th of July to finish the job off. Hopefully, going to be very hot, both in Haifa and in Athens for those games. That's the reality these days. We're playing in the middle of peak summer to get into the group stages in September. Don't forget, guys, we're skipping around. Normally, where Greece is in the coefficient, we'd be first round qualification. But because of what's going on, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Russian teams have been kicked out of the competition. That means that we skipped around and we're in the second round now. So yeah, what can we say? Let's kind of say what most people are saying already, which is that we have a poor record against Israeli sides. I mentioned earlier, out of all the teams that we had, we could have drawn a Hibernian from Malta or Dudelange from Luxembourg, a team from Belarus, some teams I've never heard of before. And, the tough draws that people on the radio were talking about were potentially playing Zurich, the Swiss champions. That was ruled out yesterday. And Maccabi Haifa was the only team that didn't have to get through a leg. And yeah, possibly, as I said, the hardest fixture that we could have had. Maribor also as well, Slovenian team that have done fairly well in European competition the last couple of years. In any case, guys, let's get the history out of the way because I know everyone's talking about it today. So let's just remind ourselves the history here. So in recent history, we've faced Israeli teams 3 times that I can remember of. 2002 in the group stages of the Champions League, that was against Maccabi Haifa. 2002, we actually played Maccabi Haifa in Cyprus because I think their stadium at the time, it wasn't fit for purpose or, checked out as meeting all the criteria for a stadium to host a Champions League game. So they had to play the game in Cyprus, and the Gazepe in Cyprus was actually pretty much full of Greeks. This was an away game technically, but it was like we were playing at home. We lost that game 3-0. I think that was the second game, the second fixture of that group stage. And it was after we'd beaten, I want to say, Leverkusen 6-2 in game 1, match day 1. So we went to Cyprus, we lost 3-0 to these guys. Yakubu Aigbeni, for any of you that remember him, he made a name for himself, I think, from that game. And then we played them at home in a 3-3 draw, where you think, at home, this was the 4th seeded team, we should win. We drew 3-3. So not great. The next time is in 2010. Now we're in qualification, elimination games. This is when Evad Linen came in the first year of Marinakis' administration. We won 2-1 at home, and then we lost 1-0 away, and we got knocked out on away goals. Then Evad Linen got sacked. Ernesto Valverde came in, and you see the smile on my face. The rest is history. 2016 is the next time we meet Israeli opposition. That's against Hapoel Beersheva. Some of you remember the name of the manager, Victor Sanchez, who was Mitchell Gonzalez's assistant. He came in as head coach that year. He was gone within months after a 0-0 draw against Hapoel Beersheva and a 1-0 defeat. I think that was away from home, if I'm not mistaken. Fun fact: the manager of Maccabi Haifa today is the same manager of Hapoel Beersheva back in 2016. Fun fact, doesn't mean anything. Traditions and historical, context and results in the past, they mean shit. The history doesn't matter. History doesn't play football. Football teams play football. We need to go out there and do our job. And even if we don't have, the big signings in, I think really we should have enough to get this over the line. What do we know about Maccabi Haifa, this team? So I said they have the same coach that they had that Beersheva had in 2016. So we know that this is a coach that likes to build his teams quite tight. So yeah, 0-0, 1-0 results. He likes to keep his team very tight. Last year, for the record, they played in the Conference League. So this is a Conference League level team. Last year, they had in their group Feyenoord. They got to the final against Roma. They had Slavia Prague and they had Union Berlin from Germany. They didn't make it through the group stages. But, okay, Feyenoord's a team that got to the final. Slavia Prague's an okay team. You had a Bundesliga team there as well. They didn't go through. In any case, that was their group last year, and they also got to the Conference League group stages by beating Neftchi Baku, a team that we faced and dispatched, well, not so easily last year because of the conditions that the team was under. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much what we know. All we need to know about Maccabi Haifa. That's what we know until now. One of their key players is a winger, Aizvili. He scored 20 goals last season. They look to have a lot of Israeli players on their teams, a lot of Israeli internationals. Their coach is Israeli as well. So, it's a team with some experience. But again, I think that with a professional performance, we can go into this game and be confident of getting a result. And if we don't, then we don't deserve to play in the Champions League. Simple as that. That's my point of view on that issue. Already a lot of comments flying in. Thanks, guys. Olympiacos, Piraeus, we need some new quality players. Yes, mate, we do need to bring in some quality players. Yorgos Kefalas, Yasfile, I'm too young to have memories of the disgraceful eliminations by European villages, says Yorgos. This club is going from bad to worse. Pre-season started and not one player issue resolved. You might say I'm too young to remember the disgraceful eliminations by villages. I can remember plenty, but I'm maybe not as old as you, George. We don't like to remember Heronveen. We don't like to remember Molde. We don't like to remember Maccabi Haifa in 2002, or before the years that we played in these big competitions. Yorgos coming back again, except Fortounis, where Taverniaris showed his spiteful, vengeful self. News today of Karababas being upgraded. George is weighing in on that as well. A lot of you saying we need to bring in players. We need to bring in players, even for this game, guys. I mean, look, to be quite honest with you, we're gonna get to Arabi in a minute, but I think with a right back, first choice right back going into this game, a winger, hopefully, we should be good. Really, to get through the second round of qualification. I don't know what's going on at right back. I mean, we've started the preseason training with Yanis Masouras, who on the one hand we were reported would not be going to preseason, on the other that he would. There was some conflicting reports. Yanis Masouras is training with the team right now. It's a player that we paid just over €1 million for, plus players in exchange, and we've never seen him play an official game for the club. I don't know if it could be different, or if he's only there to make up numbers now. The only other available right back that we have training with the team right now is Thanasis Androutsos, a player who the manager in February, March said he didn't consider him anymore, that he wasn't in his plans. And then at the end of the season, he suddenly reappeared the last couple of games. Are we going to go and play a Champions League qualifier with Androutsos? No disrespect. I've made my opinions about Androutsos clear. I think the kid needs to move on. He's not going to make a career at Olympiacos. That's where I think we need, ideally, to fill a gap at right back. We have Masouras, we have Gary Rodriguez on as options on the wing as well. I think we could do with one more as well on the wing going into those games. But guys, is very difficult. With the transfer window has just opened. We're not the only club out there looking for players. And okay, let's. You guys want to talk about transfers? I see in the chat here. So let's go straight to transfers. The right back issue. So who are we looking at? We've got Jan Koto from Manchester City is a target. A guy called Avila that plays for Huddersfield is a target. There's been a lot of talk about George Baldock as well. Sheffield United right back recently made his debut for the Greek national team as well. Where are we at with all of this? Now, these are all players from the English Premier League, Championship in the case of Baldock, but he's a player with Premier League experience, international experience now as well. Things are moving slowly, guys, because you look at Jan Koto, young, promising right back that was, named best right back in the Portuguese league by one prominent Portuguese paper. Braga want him on a permanent deal after he played on loan there last season. There was also, I think, another team came in for him. I'm not sure if it was Fenerbahce, where Jorge Jesus, the Portuguese manager, has gone. There's us as well. So there's lots of interest in this player. And again, we've said it before, Greek league is not the number one destination for any quality player. Let's face it. Players like Jan Koto are going to want to exhaust all of their options before they look at us. And we're not a team that plays guaranteed Champions League football anymore. We have to qualify through the rounds. I expect that our big signings will be made in August if we make any big signings. That's when I expect us to do our business. Right now, it's okay. It is all about, what scouting have we done? Who have we managed to identify that others haven't? There are names, of course, that we've never heard of, that haven't been in the press, that haven't been leaked. And that's been a tactic of Olympiacos the last couple of years. It's not new. Names have been thrown out in the media. The other day, we read that Kyle Larin was getting on a plane and coming to Greece. Bullshit. Right? A lot of the players that we've ended up signing, they've been names that have come out of nowhere, or players that, possibly have been on the radar and named and talked about a few times, then forgotten for 3-4 months. And then all of a sudden, bam, they're back. They're back and, we've signed them. So that's it, guys. We talked about Koto, Avila. We joked about it on the podcast the other day. He's got this nickname, Pipa, and Nikolakopoulos was screaming Pipa, Pipa, Pipa on the radio the other day. And it was awfully funny. People I've talked to in England, our sources in England tell us not a fantastic player, but also a deal that's not really likely to happen. George Baldock it's a bit more complicated. He's got 2 years left on his contract. He's a player that's probably, he's going to want decent money. His club's going to want a good transfer fee. Is it worth it? Personally, I think yes. I think he's a player that would be worth the money. He's at a good age. He's not too old. He's not too young. We need experience at the back. I think he brings that. I like what I saw from the national team. He's got heaps of energy, can run up and down the wing all day, 90 minutes. Maybe not the best crosser of the ball, but he gives everything. He has that mentality, that warrior mentality that Olympiacos fans like. So that for me is really priority, guys. Right back. We need to get a right back in. Just bringing up a Solomon Locker has a comment here. We should have signed at least one player till now. Olympiacos reporters have poor information about our transfer plan, and that makes it even worse. We know nothing. What can I say? Patience. That's again. I asked the question: do we really need loads of transfers to beat this team? And we do have more than a month, guys. I think the way I see it, I hope that we've made at least one signing before the team picks up and goes to Austria for pre-season. That's what I hope. For me, that's a realistic expectation, because there's a gap. We can't. I have this feeling that Yanis Masouras is not going to travel to Austria. I could be wrong. We know Pedro Martins doesn't rate him. He's never played him once. So is he going to go to pre-season with Androutsos or Nikolic? Surely, guys. So we're the 15th of June today, and we've got until the 22nd. We've got until the 22nd of June when the team goes off to pre-season in Austria for camp, and we don't play Maccabi until the 19th. We've got more than a month. As long as that player or those players, one or two, are in Austria and get to train with the team, and the manager can try and integrate them into the squad, into his lineup, I think we should be good. Okay. Ari chiming in. Yasuari, miss you, buddy. Wish you were here today. Don't expect anything big ahead of Maccabi, like Costa said. Says Ari, last summer we signed no one prior to Ludogorets. We can only hope we pass Haifa and the club learned from its mistake last year. Amen. Amen. We do not want a repeat of last year. There's been some commentary as well in the press today and on the radio that last time we faced Israeli opposition, I mentioned it, Evad Linen was coach, and also Victor Sanchez, and both of those coaches got sacked after being eliminated by Israeli teams. I'm not insinuating anything. I'm just stating facts and replaying things that were said on the radio today. So Pedro Martins, you know what to do. George, You're hanging with us today, I see. Yes, I've seen George Kefalas is telling us their squad is valued at 17.7 million. That's correct. I saw that on Transfermarkt as well. George says we have 21 players on the current roster who are more expensive than their top-rated player. Yeah, it's true. Lazar Rajelovic and Nikola Chumic are probably worth more than, I don't want to say their entire squad, but you know, their best player. So yeah. Yasu Maria says when they give 5 million for Onyekuru, I can't understand why it's so hard for them to give 3 million for Baldock. I'm with you, mate. That, you know, some people have argued as well that, you know, we're giving a lot of money to El Arabi and we're not willing to bring in a right back in a key position. We'll talk about El Arabi a little bit later on. Aris P says, I'm legit terrified of Barak Bakhar. Seems like the type of coach whose teams terrorize us. So yeah, that's as I said, Ari, he's the coach that he coached Hapoel Beersheva in 2016. Again, guys, history is history. We need to learn from history. As my co-host Ari said a minute earlier, hopefully we have learned from the past. By the way, guys, I have dropped a link in the chat. So if anyone wants to come on, have a chat with me, like hit the link and let's go for it. Valle, I agree, mate. Right back and winger. I said it, mate. That's what we need going into this, especially at right back. Andrea says we need signings ASAP, not just for this round, but we need them to be settled and ready for the next rounds. Otherwise, we'll make the same mistake like last year and get eliminated. Look at my eyes, DC says we have new info about Jan Koto. He wants to head back to SG Braga. City wants him to move to a Premier League team. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Look at my eyes, DC. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that information, but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if he wants to go back to Braga. He played there for a season, had a good time at Braga. They had quite a deep run into the Europa League too. I think they got knocked out by Rangers. And yeah, I'm not surprised if City wants to loan him to another Premier League team so that he gets Premier League experience. That's a tough one, you see, because City don't even know what they want to do with him. Do they want to keep him? Do they want to play him? Do they want to see him in pre-season? Do they want to loan him to another Premier League team? So these are all factors that are outside Olympiacos' control. Olympiacos may have made the best offer to Man City financially, and they cover the players' wages and everything. We don't know, but there are other considerations here. There's always complications in a transfer. It's not just we pick up the phone, they pick up the phone, we agree, and that's done. So let's mellow out a little bit. Aguilar, what's up, my friends? Aguilos Goods, loyal follower here, says the main matter is to have signings early to build chemistry within the team. Right, to be honest with you guys, it's not just about building chemistry like when bringing in new players, but let's just say it outright. This team had no chemistry last year, right? This team had no chemistry. The coach started the season wanting to play 4-4-2. He went into qualifiers playing with 3 at the back. Then he went back to 4 at the back with 3 in the middle. Then sometimes he played 4-2-3-1, sometimes 4-3-3. There was no chemistry. It was like the team, we talked about it many times last season, the team didn't have identity. And you know what? One of the reasons, I think what Martins is trying to do is go back to kind of an atmosphere that he had in the first season. The first season he came. Like, we're talking about a rebuild this season. Not as dramatic as the one that we had in the first season. Not like we're getting rid of 30 players and bringing in 25. We're looking to get rid of 10, 11 players, yeah? Fortounis is one of them. And I was listening to the discussion that Dionysis Verveles was having on his show yesterday. And he raised the point that some of us know already, Fortounis has an attitude problem. We know that. We know that he doesn't like sitting on the bench. We know that he doesn't like being brought on for 5 minutes. And yeah, Martins, there's probably some blame to put on Martins as well in terms of how he's treated the player. But Fortounis made mistakes too, guys. That game in Thessaloniki, I mentioned it. I mentioned it on the podcast, the recorded podcast that I did the day the news broke. The glass shattered, like the relationship between Martins and Fortounis, it cracked after that game, where we sealed the championship with a 1-0 victory in Tuba before going to Emirates, where he was left out. And after the bout game, everyone was, happy, enjoying the victory. It was really, a key moment in the league. And we hadn't, remember the first season, we hadn't won the league. And Fortounis was sulking. And the players didn't react well to that. So I'm not taking sides. I love Fortounis. I hate that he's probably leaving, yeah? Because I loved the fact that we had a Greek player, a creative Greek player, like one of the most talented, if not the most talented player of his generation, playing for our club. I loved that about him. I loved that situation. It's been 8 years. Fortounis has had his good moments. He's had his bad moments too. And about the captaincy as well. If you're a club captain, you don't do what he did at that bout game. Because that's where it all starts. That's where it all went wrong. That's where it all went wrong, guys. There's no turning back. Like, he got chances here and there. And Martins, in my view, was never going to give him much. So I just wanted to add that because it's not something that I really talked about or elaborated much on in the last episode that I did on this issue with Fortounis. My point was, going back to this issue, Martins wants to cultivate an atmosphere in the dressing room, similar to the one that he had in the first season. There are a lot of new players, guys, that we haven't really seen this season. What about Bandiugu Fadiga? Are we going to see more of him this season? What about Abdoulaye Dabo, the central midfielder that we bought from Nan? By the way, he's going to start training in a couple of days. He had a nasty injury with the B team just at the end of the season, and we've learned that they're managing him carefully. But he is considered, so he will go to pre-season. He will go to Austria. Remember, guys, when players like Madi Camara came in the first season, or Agibu, we didn't expect them to play the role that they did in their first seasons. Maybe we have some nice surprises, like from players within the squad already. We didn't see Fadiga much last season. We saw him in some cameos, and we saw him playing out wide on the left. But he's a central midfielder. So maybe we see more of him. Maybe we see more of Dabo. Let's see what we see from these players in pre-season camp. Dibi Keita, another one that we picked up from Real Madrid's youth team. He had a horrible knee injury, the same one that Apostolopoulos had, that kept him out for a year. Maybe he starts in the B team. We don't know. So that you see, we're getting rid of quite like 10 players, but there are already some players that last year, I think Martins was a bit too afraid of throwing them in. He wanted to secure the league, etc. So let's wait and see, guys. There might be some hidden gems like within this squad that we've completely forgotten about. Dimitris Pinakas, I haven't seen him training with the team the first day, second day. That one's a bit of a funny one. We don't know. Let's see if he turns up. Algassim Bar as well, guys. There's Algassim Bar. So let's see who the breakthrough, or if there are any breakthrough players in the squad this year. Voila. Right, what else have we got here? RSP about Yanis Masouras. Yanis Masouras, he says, is not better than Lalara and Ruto, so I side with Martins on this one. Dude can't control the ball or properly position himself on the pitch. Yeah, well, if we don't like him, get rid of him. Like, guys, we paid so much money for this guy, like, and we've never seen him play. Yeah, Vio says, the thing is, we're not doing very well against Israeli teams. Yes, Johnny. Good morning, Australia. I have a bad feeling about this tie, says John Sabukas. Thank God we have 5 weeks to prepare. Yeah, mate. Like, I have to admit, even when I was watching the draw, I was swearing at the TV, just saying, fuck. Like, we're going to play Maccabi. I had the post that we put up on social media. I had it ready from yesterday. I'd already put the Maccabi logo on the graphic. Like, I was so sure that we were going to play them. Whatever. Andrea says there are so many free players like Pavon, Teo, etc. I don't understand why we don't approach them. We need them to settle in the team ASAP before the rounds. Mate, I don't know what's going on with Pavon. Like, I know that he's been taken to court. There's some legal complications. Teo, like, it doesn't drive me crazy. I think we can find better. Like, he's a player that's 30. We'll sign him for a 2-3 year contract, and then we'll be looking for another winger again. I'm not sure he's really the answer to our problems in terms of that specific player, buddy. Some Forest fans chiming in as well. Up the Forest, yes, mate. Up the Forest. Andreas Mitis mentions Dibi Keita. Yeah, I mentioned that already. What else have we got here in the chat? Anything new about Kostas Fortounis? So, guys, I just talked about Fortounis. You're probably Midnight Sprite. You're probably asking me, are there teams interested in him, or what's happening? We don't know, and my gut feeling is that this one's going to drag on for a period of time. I think this will drag on for a bit. I even thought the other day, like, what if we loan him? I mean, he's got a year left on his contract, and we could loan him for a year. And if he plays well, and maybe he comes back and signs a new deal. I think Pedro extended for 1 year or 2 years, guys. I can't remember. You don't know, but what I did say on the last pod that I did on Costa is that I think this is something that's going to be dealt with bilaterally between him and the president, Vangelis Marinakis. So as far as we know, there haven't been any bids yet. There was a rumor of Fenerbahce wanting to buy him. 3 million was a reported figure. Fenerbahce just signed Lincoln, a player that was on our radar a year ago, plays in the same position. So I don't see that happening. They got Belkas as well. And isn't Özil still at Fenerbahce, or did he fuck off to China? I have no idea. Ike, Bauk have been mentioned as well. Aris. My gut feeling is that I think Costa will want to stay in Greece. And that's where I see things getting a bit complicated. And possibly, this is why I see things taking some time in terms of resolving the situation with Costa. But Costa really needs to get into a team. He needs to start training, and he needs to start playing. I don't think he can afford a situation in which we get to August and he's not in a team. That'll be terrible for him. So, I hope for his sake that, he manages to figure it out and that, the situation is resolved as quick as possible. For Costa just had a kid recently, yeah? And his wife, or his girlfriend, I don't know if they're married, she's a school teacher. So do they really want to pick up and go somewhere, like, right after they've had a kid? There's all these factors, and, like, I can see him going to Aris. I can see him going to Aris, guys. That's my take on the Fortounis situation. I can see him ending up there. Andrea, it's usually difficult and expensive to bring in players early, mid-June. Yeah, mate. It's hard. It's hard, like I said, and I expect us to do our best business or most of our business in August. Yeah. Aguilar's saying that Martins is eager to play 4-4-2 according to Prodathletis. I mean, mate, yeah, he's looking to bring in players like Abubakar Kamara from Aris. Oh, by the way, yeah, there was talk of player exchanges there. So, again, my Aris Fortounis theory. Let's see. Low-key Delta asks the question, rebuild, how with no transfers? Taipa, I said, mate, like there are players in the squad. They're not big name players, but they're players that were bought in with potential, with the hope of developing them into becoming players like Madi Kamara, players like Agibu Kamara. I mentioned Dabo, I mentioned Fadiga. Like these players were really are still hotly tipped talents in France. They're young. They're like 20, 21 years of age that need to play football. There should be space for them now. And you know what? Like in a 4-4-2 system, I think we'll see 4-4-2 and 4-3-3, guys. 4-2-3-1, maybe some games. What does that mean for Carvalho? I'm not sure. There's talk about playing Agibu Kamara as a number 8 in central midfield. I like that. I think, the best game we played last season in Fenerbahce, you had Agibu Kamara and Madi playing on the same line, like both as kind of, 8s in central midfield with a holding midfielder behind them. So, and I liked the idea in Atalanta as well, away from home, where Agibu started in that position. And we know Agibu dipped after Copa Africa. His form dropped, but I would like to see him. I would like to see him tried in that position and given a run of games. One of the things I hated about last season and the way we used him was that we played him on the wing one time, played him on the other wing, then we played him at the 10, then we played him. Players need consistency. Players, especially young players, they need to play in a position. They need to know their role in the team. You can be as versatile as you want as a player, as tactically astute and tactically aware as a player on the pitch to play different positions. But playing consistently in one position, that's how you improve. That's how you embed yourself in a team. That's how you put your mark on a team as well. So let's see. Chris Oxford, I mentioned already, mate. Interested parties in Fortounis. Rumors. There's rumors. Nothing concrete. So we mentioned some clubs, some Greek clubs. Fenerbahce was mentioned. Might we just leave him on a free altogether and mutually terminate his contract? But he's going to want his money, I guess. And we know that I think the last year of his contract, he's still getting over $1 million, whether it's 1.5 million or 1.7. It was the contract terms for the 3-year contract he signed were, I think, cumulatively increasing salary or the other way around. So I can't remember if he earned 1.7 the first season, then 1.5, now 1.2, or the other way around. In any case, it's still a lot of money, and he's still the highest paid Greek player in the league. Andreas asking, are we looking for a winger right? The name that we are the most close to is Kyle Larin, but Larin is not a winger. He plays on the left, but he is like Masouras. That's a pretty good comparison in a sense that he's not a striker and he's not a winger, and Masouras isn't a winger and he's not a striker either, but he scores goals. Larin is a more physical player. He's good in the air too. He's not great on the ball, and also some Besiktas fans that I talk to, they say they really... he's one of those players that has the ability to infuriate the fans by missing goals that seemingly should be 100%, back of the net stuff. So similarities there to Masouras as well. For some reason, I'm not super excited about this one, to be honest, man. And again, Kyle Larin's priority, we know this from sources, his priority is not to come to Greece. So he wants to move to a club before August, and he's looking at top one of the top 4 leagues. Nottingham Forest, maybe something going on with Kyle Larin. We'll see. Same owner over there, by the way. We all know that. What else have we got here? Still loads of comments coming in, guys. Trying to keep up with you. Does nobody want to talk to me? Like, people too shy to like come on the show and have a chat. Again, I'm dropping the link in the chat. If anybody wants to come on, don't be shy. If you're afraid your English isn't good, bullshit. Speak some English, or you can speak Greek. No problem. The link is in the chat. Addis B makes a good point again. We did not expect much from Cisse or Bar when they first came in. Yeah, another example. Midnight Sprite about Lala. Lala's gone, mate. But he didn't turn up to training yesterday, so we assume he's gone. So Kenny Lala wasn't in training. We assume he's not in the plans. Also, it's been reported as well. Aguilo says that he saw Pinakas training with Larissa players on his story today. Yeah, mate, I saw that too. He was wearing Larissa kit. Still under contract. I think he signed a 5-year contract with us. Yeah. Johnny from Australia says, I just hope Martin settles on a formation. Yes. And they bring in talent to suit the formation, 4-2-3-1, and bring in a winger and 2 fullbacks. Again, mate, like I said, I think it will mainly be 4-3-3 with some alterations, maybe playing with a number 10 and bringing in Carvalho. There's talk also as well about bringing in a profile of player that is that can play on the wing, but that can also play at the 10 as well. Remy Cabello resurfaced as well. He's on a free transfer. We know he's good friends with a couple of players on the squad, particularly Yann Mbila. They played in the same team together previously. I think that was at Saint-Etienne. Remy Cabella is a good player, man. I think he's going to be asking a lot of money. We need to get rid of players, guys. We haven't sold anyone. The only money we've made from sales, guys, is Hugo Kuipers. Hugo Kuipers completed his move to Ghent today. Reported figure of 4 million euros. We retained 50% of his rights, so that means we'll get close to 2 million. So we've made some money. We've made some money from sales. We just haven't sold any of our current players. We need to get rid of Onyekuru. We need to get rid of Lala. We don't know if Rajelovic is going to stay on the team, whether Chumic is going to stay on the team. Christensen, is he going to stay on the team? There's like players with like, there's a huge wage bill, guys. Again, something we've talked about throughout the previous season. Ruben Semedo, I almost forgot. We need to get rid of these players. We need to get rid. Whether or not we have a very rich owner, like the club's money is the club's money. And the owner can inject more money into the club, which he did already, to fill the gap for the money that we didn't make from not getting in the Champions League, from COVID, etc., etc., etc. But the club's books are balanced out by what happens in the club. Yeah. So there's income and expenditure, guys. So we need to reduce the wage bill, make money, and then spend. There are other people wiser than me that know more than me in the team dealing with those things. Hopefully, there've been more changes in the back room. Let's just get that out of the way as well, guys. So this has been a big topic the last few days and weeks. Are we bringing in a technical director? Are we bringing in a sporting director with a general director? Morgan De Sanctis came to Athens. Sabatini came to Athens. We didn't offer anything to De Sanctis. We're talking with 20 different candidates. Zubizarreta is one of them. We're looking at Spain now. That's our priority. Guys, I know everyone's worried. Everyone's anxious. Like, I'm anxious. We're anxious. We're supporters, though. We've got to support the team. And we'll criticize and we'll judge based on what we see. The team has 1 month. The team has 1 month to get ready for the qualifiers. We'll talk more critically after that, after we've seen. Now we need to give time and we need to support. Saying that, changes in the back room. So we know that Modesto is gone. And today the new announcement is that Lina Suluku, the general director of the team, Yenigidi Eftidria, she's leaving the club as well. So there was an announcement today thanking her for her services, everything she's contributed. and she was essentially the person that would hold negotiations and negotiate players coming in. Legal background, very high profile. So she's gone, and until now, Vice President Kostas Karapapas is named the new general director for the team, and he will take that position effective as of 1st of July. And what was announced in the press release from the club today, there's also been some reports that Christian Kahambo and Vasilis Torosidis' roles in the backroom will be upgraded. Don't know what that means, guys. I don't know what that means. But we're still waiting. We're still waiting to learn more and see who the club picks for these other roles internally to help, set a vision for the club, help us with transfers, because there's a gap there. There are gaps that need to be filled. So again, all we can do there, I'm afraid, is wait. I'm going to go back to more comments. Before I do that, guys, again, if you haven't hit the like button, if you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and do that. It will take you 2 seconds. Hit the bell as well so that you don't miss any future updates. We come to you at least twice a week during the regular season, trying to do more now during the off season with all this transfer news. We're going to be doing a weekly transfer roundup as well. That's something new that we're going to be doing to try and round everything up into one episode. Hopefully that's something that you do like. Please show your appreciation, show some love by hitting that like button. Tell your friends about us as well. If you're in school, if you're younger, if maybe you find that this episode is also a good way to improve your English. By the way, that's how I really improved my Greek. It's by reading Greek sports papers. Phos Protathlitis, or whatever my dad used to throw on the bed in the morning, and I drink my coffee. And when I was younger, I didn't drink coffee. Anyway, good language improving skills here offered to you by none other than Gate 7 International as well. Chris Oxford is asking, any news on Sabatini? Pending. Everything's pending, mate. So the club announced, Kostas Karapapas said that they've spoken to more than 20 candidates. As far as I know, they're still talking to many. Zubizarreta apparently said that he would, reportedly that he's interested in the job, but he hasn't received an offer. Greek media have been jumping on that one as well. I tell you what, if you talk to Marseille fans about Zubizarreta, not happy. He brought Kostas Mitroglou to the club. He didn't have the greatest of times at Marseille. He also brought Kevin Stroutman to the club as well, and he's not even playing, and he's getting paid a shit ton of money. And generally Marseille fans say that he was really not great for them. More transfers. All of you want to know about transfers, don't you? RSP says no transfer news regarding Madi Camara. He might actually retire at Olympiacos at this rate. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, he made statements the other day that he's happy to stay at the club. That he's happy to stay at the club. But that, if the right thing comes along, then why not? I like the fact that Madi said in an interview that he recognized what Olympiacos has offered to him, the ability to live his dream, to play in European competition, to play in the Champions League, to win titles. And, for now, the most important for him, is what he said, is that he's happy where he is. He's happy at Olympiacos. And if another interesting project comes in, then, he'll look at that and why not consider it? Has to be right for the player. Has to be right for the club too, guys. We probably can't get the same money that we could have got for Madi last year or the season before. We'll see. We're the 15th of June. The transfer window, the transfer market doesn't end, well, for us until mid-September now it is, but there's still a long way, guys. Still a lot of things that can happen. There might be players that play in the second round, third round of qualifying that aren't with us when and if we start games in the group stage, whether it's group stage of Champions League, hopefully, fingers crossed, or Europa or whatever it is. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Madi Camara. Aguilos reminding us that Fenerbahce signed Bruma, missed opportunity. is a missed opportunity, perhaps, mate, in the sense that we paid 4.5 million for Onyekuru. And if I remember well, the option that we had on Bruma was 6. We could have tried to negotiate it down to 5. I don't know how much he signed for. Is he out of contract? I'm not quite sure. But in retrospect, Bruma was a useful player. He had good metrics. He had good goal games to goal ratio, assists, good chemistry with some of the players on the team. Yeah, I think we could. Possibly that's a missed opportunity. Virgil Starkwell, hello mate. Don't think I've seen you before. Welcome to the podcast. Virgil says Fortounis is a great player, but he's obviously has completed his circle in the team. Have faith in the coach and the president. Amen. Another comment from Virgil. Coming season will end with Olympiacos in plus 30 points in the Greek Championships and a decent course in Europe. At least 3 to 4 great players are about to come. Maccabi. Let's see. Time will tell. Jay Brown, Forest guy, asking, did Carvalho play last season for you? Excuse me. Mate, he did. Yeah, he scored a couple of goals, got a couple of assists. Generally, decent contribution. I think what I expected personally, we were looking to bring in a player with that would bring creativity in the middle of the park. You've got great vision, great one-touch passing. He sees things happening on the pitch before they happen. He sends the ball to the right place for players running into space or passes to feet. He's very intelligent. Again, for me, if you guys listening from Nottingham Forest, I think he's a player that couldn't really hack it in the Championship because he's not a physical player. He's very similar to Fortounis in that way. Sometimes he looks like he's so relaxed that he's falling backwards on the pitch. Whereas, people say he's lazy or this and that and the other, but he's got that charisma like that. You can't just have players on the pitch that run. A lot of fans, a lot of people, they criticize Martins because he wants, he values players that run more than technical players. You need both, and Carvalho is one of those players. It's a technical player, gifted, creative. So he did well. He scored goals in derbies. He scored a goal against Baug. He scored a goal against AEK. So let's see now with the preseason behind him as well what he can do. And you know what? He's got a lot of pressure now because essentially he's taking Fortounis' place. I don't know if you were listening before or you know who Kostas Fortounis is, Jay, but big shoes to fill. And it's going to be very hard for him against living up to fan favourite, essentially, that's on the way out. Look at my eyes. DC says, speaking of Aris, they are creating one hell of a team. I'm a big fan of their coach. I can see them making a surprise this season. You know what, man? Like the better the bigger the competition and the better our rivals are, the better it is for us. We need the competition. If there's no one pushing us in Greece, then it makes it harder for us to compete in Europe. Because when we're playing in Greece, we're playing in second gear. If we're playing in second gear in Greece, it's very hard to get into fourth, fifth, and play against these teams playing in the top 3, top 4 leagues. When we're not even getting into third gear to win games in Greece. I welcome it. I genuinely. And you know what? Panathinaikos is going to be better next season. And I'm looking forward to it. I really hope that there's always expectation with these teams that are below us as well every season, going into qualifiers as well. I remember Atromitos a few years ago, and I look at them, they were fighting to avoid relegation. They were playing in European qualifiers a couple of years ago, and they were getting knocked out, dispatched by teams I'd never heard of in my life. Their mother doesn't know them, like they say in Greece. So, yeah, I hope that genuinely, the other Greek teams do well in Europe and at least get into group stages and help the coefficient, because we've been carrying it. Another thing that we've been saying on the podcast so many times over and over, Olympiacos have been carrying the Greek coefficient for the last decade and more. So, all right, guys, time for the other teams to do something as well. Virgil agrees with me that Aris would be a great next stop for Fortounis. Another man. Let's see. Era K7, hello, Era. Is there any chance Fortounis will stay with us at the end of the day? It looks very tough, man. It looks tough. The only kind of like crazy scenario that I see is Marinakis and Fortounis agree that he's loaned out. He's loaned out to Aris and he sees out his contract on a loan, and we see what happens at the end of the year. But then again, guys, can somebody tell me, anybody that's listening now, can somebody go and look, like, did Martin sign a 1-year contract extension or a 2-year contract extension? Because I think it's a 2-year contract extension. What message would our board be sending, for example, if that kind of scenario did materialize, that we loan him? Because it's clear that Martins doesn't want him. Like, again, that scenario is super far-fetched to loan Fortounis out and see out his contract. Let's see, guys. Let's see. I said we're going to need to be patient on this one. Look at my eyes, DC. Oh, Chris Oxford. El Arabi time. How much did it take for that deal? All right, you guys want to talk about El Arabi? Fine. Let's talk about El Arabi. So, El Arabi signed 2-year contract extension, guys, till 2024. That keeps him here. Essentially, guys, that means he's going to see out his career at Olympiacos. I don't know if you guys have realized that. It was a big decision for him, guys. So he's going to retire at Olympiacos. Now, how much is he going to be making? Guys, I'm not in the president's wallet. I only tell you what's been reported, okay? So it's been reported that we've offered him around 2 million euro, like 2 million or around 2 million euros a season on a closed 2-year contract. It means he's guaranteed 4 million euros the next 2 seasons, plus bonuses of around 800,000 is what we've heard the last couple of days. 800,000 in bonuses. The bonuses are for reaching the group stage of the Champions League and for winning the league. I don't know if there's a bonus as well for being top scorer or a goals bonus for scoring more than 20 goals. That's what we know, guys, about the numbers for El Arabi. Yeah. Now, is it a good move? Again, this is something that we've talked about before. Look, guys, in an ideal world, I would have liked us to have already identified a replacement for El Arabi. Given our situation, given the league that we play in, again, we're not the most attractive destination for top strikers. And you know what? Strikers are expensive. And even more so, a striker that scores 20 plus goals a season, they're very expensive and they're very hard to find. That's why, for me, I'm happy with this. I'm happy this is over. That the uncertainty surrounding his contract extension is done. So we're past that now. We have our talisman. He is 35 years of age. He's not as fast as he was. He doesn't chase down the balls as well as he did, in his first season. Maybe that has to do with preseason last year. Maybe he's better this year. Maybe he's fitter. Maybe he is physically fitter because El Arabi is a professional. Wherever he goes, he plays for money. He plays for contracts. Doesn't play for this. Okay, he can get attached to some teams and maybe he likes us or likes us more than other teams that he's played for. But everywhere he's gone, all the choices he's made in his career, they've been about money. If they weren't about money, he wouldn't have gone to Qatar. He was a great striker in Primera, in Spain, and in France. He could have stayed. He went to Qatar to get money. Then he came back to play for us. So I think, guys, he's a player that I think can help us definitely in this second round of qualifiers against Maccabi. Let's see who then we get in the third round in playoffs. If we get into the Champions League, I think we'll move for a striker. I do think we'll try and sign a big name striker. And there's still like the puzzle isn't complete up front. A bid for Tiquinho might come in. A bid for Hassan might come in. So things can change, huh? I'm telling you now. When we get to September, our striking trio will not be El Arabi, Hassan, Tiquinho. It will not be those three. The important thing is that El Arabi is our talisman. He's our number one striker, and he's here to stay for another couple of years. We're sorted. He's a player that, knock on wood, fingers crossed, he hasn't had any major injuries. Excuse me, since he came here. That's very important. You look at Zahavi, lovely player, gives something different than El Arabi. We entertained the idea and we discussed about, could they play together, because Martins is looking for this second striker or number 9.5 that can play around El Arabi. Zahavi's had a lot of injuries, huh? Standard, like two times during the season, you're going to lose him. So if it was a choice between the two, one or the other, this was my choice. El Arabi. Yeah. Chris Oxford's asking about Tiquinho. Looks like he's staying. Again, mate, long time. We've got a long period of time until the transfer window closes. So let's see. Tiquinho is also another one that came in overweight last year and had that shoulder injury. Might see a better Tiquinho this year. Who knows? We're 2 days into preseason. Again, friendlies, guys, they start on the 24th of June, if I remember correctly. So we go to Austria, and I think the first game we play is against a team called Ried, an Austrian team. So we will, of course, watch the friendlies. We'll do episodes afterwards. We can talk about what we see. Aguilos Goods is talking about Binagas. 1.5 million for what? I can't stand watching him only be at the B team while spending that much money for him. Just promote the bloke if he hasn't moved on loan to AL. Right? If they're not, I'm sure he's going to ask it himself. Like if he's not in the first team plans this season, then I'm sure he won't want to stay another season in the B team. Yeah, and Aguilos is going on. Says that he has already Super League 1 experience. So a bit of consistency of appearances will make him be able to help us at European level as well. I don't know if I'd go that far, but yeah, definitely a player that I would like to see get an opportunity. Otherwise, why did we sign him? And if we're not going to give him the opportunity, then let him go. Simple as that. James, the proof will be in the pudding, mate, about this one on the screen. We'll see. Like in general, there's a reshuffle, and not only a reshuffle in the back room, but I think it's in general, I think the roles themselves will change and what they actually do. Right now, Christian Carambeau is a sports director. I don't really know what he does day to day, but we see him he's very close to the manager. He's on the bench for all the games in Greek League and in Europe. He was there. He was on the bench. So clearly it seems like he has a role in the dressing room as well. He's a club ambassador. Thrylos is he has this role between the players and the management. In other countries, technical director, which is Thrylos' report, his title, technical director does other things. Guys, lots of comments about Costas Karapapas. Yeah, he was a reporter. He was a reporter for Nova Sport, but I'll have you know that the guy is very well educated. So he's not just your run of the mill kind of fan that became a reporter. Yeah, he didn't come out of nowhere. So let's see. I would like to hear a more proactive communication on what the plan is. At the moment, we're getting reassurances. Okay, we're not an English football club. We're not as advanced in Greeks on our communication in general, and communication in football with the fans. I'm not trying to say they do a bad job. I think we all would have liked that the club is a bit more proactive. I'll tell you something. We are trying to get some people from the backroom, front office, to come and talk to us on the show. So you'll have your chances to ask questions as well when that does happen. We have been working hard to make that happen. I do assure you. Ahura Mazda, how's it going, mate? Question coming in from you there. You asked me about El Arabi. I talked about El Arabi just a moment ago, mate. For left back, Dani Alves is a free agent. Just saying. Really? I mean, any other offers? I mean, we're looking for a right back. So you've got your experience there. Dianpo. Aguilos chiming in. I agree. Dani Alves can provide spirit, passion, morale to everyone and can still bag class appearances at the age of 39. You want to bring in a 39-year-old, and some of you guys were complaining about re-signing a 35-year-old striker. Der Profidiga asks, do we know how the profit is if we don't know what transfers are realistic? I'm not sure what you mean, mate. You're talking about do we actually have money to make transfers, or we need to make sales first? I'm not sure. Okay, now everyone's going a bit crazy in the chat. Let's bring Ronaldinho too. He's 42. Okay, guys. Well, listen, we've made it through an hour. We've talked about the draw. So we talked about Maccabi. The chat's still going. Roberto Carlos, Cafu as well. Cafu would be nice. Kaká. Why not bring Giovanni back? He looks fitter than he was when he was actually playing for us. I wouldn't mind him having a role at the fake 9 or number 10, or just stick him on the pitch. Thank you. A good question here. Opinion about Kudris. I haven't seen Kudris play in over a year, mate. So I don't know what condition he's in. He's obviously coming off the back of an ACL injury as well. We know that's always complicated for players. Most of them never come back the same. One thing I always liked about Kudris is his delivery. His delivery is like Beckham compared to Reabchuk in terms of consistency. I exaggerate, of course, but I'm doing that for television purposes here. Kudris can be an option. Let's see him in preseason. Let's see how he does. His weakness was always defensive. It was always the more defensive side of Kudris's play. So let's see. Hopefully, playing in Germany has made him a bit more physical, a bit more tactically astute. Playing against more physical and tactical-minded players. So let's see. Everyone sees Kudris and they think of that image of him after the Milan game. And there's a lot of love for Leonardo Kudris. He's a lovely bloke, from what I can tell. Whenever I've seen him speak on camera, he's very measured. He's half Brazilian too. He speaks Portuguese. You'd think that he'd get on with the manager. Yeah, this is the point I was making earlier. Great crossing. At least 8 out of 10 crosses will target a teammate, not like colleague. 9 out of 10 pigeons. Dax. Der Profidiga, you're asking me this question. Would you like to be in the Champions League or in the Europa League? Man, of course I'd prefer to be in the Champions League. Of course. It's more prestige. That's where we want to play. That's where Olympiacos belongs. Olympiacos belongs in the Champions League. But I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. To get to the Champions League, and you need to show that you deserve to be there. I don't want to be going in the Champions League and being a team that just like without getting any wins. Like, I want to go and I want to be competitive. And I think that for a team like ours right now, playing in a league like ours, a team that has to go through 3 qualification rounds to get to the group stage, I think that generally, if you can get through those 3 qualification rounds, you're going to play against good teams. And if you can knock those teams out, then you deserve to play in the Champions League. It's as simple as that. And if you don't, then you play in the Europa League. And the Europa League's fine for me too. As long as we're competitive. I want to see the team competitive. And I want to see the team play football. That's what's most important for me. Yeah. So I hope I answered your question and more. Hora says Nikolakopoulos said that Oleg seems to be first choice as of now. Yeah. Oleg is first choice, and he's played 4 games for the national team now, 90 minutes. He hasn't stopped, man. The guy's played like 60 games this season. Yeah. Look at my eyes. DC says he's voting conference. Maybe that's your answer to what you feel is realistic. We'll see. We'll see. Their Profiliga says, but with this team, we get 3-4 against Real Bayern. We don't know what this team's capable of because this team's being rebuilt. Again, patience, guys. I am anxious. We're all anxious. I said it before. I know how Olympiacos fans can get. I'm one of them. I feel what you're feeling. I want to see transfers. But, you know, if we're taking our time because we're being methodical, I'd rather we take our time than sign another Henry Onyekuru. And how's that for a line? I'm going to end it there because I think I just topped it all off. Patience with transfers. Let's try and be optimistic. We did have some good news today with the re-signing of El Arabi. And one more thing before I tune out, guys, on Maccabi Haifa, on this whole point about, you know, them being the hardest pick we would have got, etc. And, you know, everyone's like, oh, for fuck's sake, you know, why do we always get the hardest team? Good. We need to be tested. We need to be on our toes. Again, is it really going to be that big a test? Can Olympiacos not dispatch this team that's worth 17 million with a team, you know, our team's worth more than 100? Really? Johnny Tabukas, are you really doing this to me? Johnny Tabukas wants to come on the show. Okay, I'm going to stay longer. And I'm going to bring John on the show because he is in Australia. John.
Kalimera. I was tuning in earlier, but I just had a gym session and I thought I'd join you. It's 6:45 here in the morning, but I don't want to keep you too long. But I wanted to jump in before when you were talking about Fortounis, because I was reading about it the other day when you guys posted it, and I was in shock, to be honest, at the fact that that there was some disciplinary issues, some personality clashes and whatnot, but surely you can't discard that type of talent to just waste away or send it to Aris or completely cut it from the roster just because of the fact that he got a bit upset that he didn't come on. I feel on the other side is, if you're the team captain, if you're the club captain, the basically the life of the club, and you have done all the training and done all the work coming back from an ACL, and you're good enough to be in the squad, someone like with that talent doesn't just get 5 minutes or completely discarded for me. And I think he's justified in being a bit upset because Martins has a track record of doing that to a lot of players, not just Fortounis. But on the flip side, I see where your stance is in regards to leading by example and showing the younger players in the squad that you can't just crack the shits if you don't get your own way, basically.
No, mate. Look, I think that when the news broke, I think all of us were in a state of shock because it's Fortounis. Like we all love Fortounis, and you know how Greeks are hot-headed and everything, like where the line between love and hate sometimes is very close. There's a very fine line between 100%. Being happy and being sad as well. We're very emotional people. So like, all of us have criticized Fortounis. There've been moments where we've criticized him, like when he missed the penalty against Lamia in Martins' first season, or other times where we say, oh, he's fucking lazy, he should do more. And yeah, we were all shocked because, like I said, like he is the most talented attacking midfielder that we've developed in Greece in a generation. And it's sad, like that's what I said earlier. It's sad that for me that we can't, that we're giving that player away. That's what saddens me. Like, and I really enjoy seeing him on the pitch when he's in full flow. And I think all of us as well, we kind of hold on to what we saw from Fortounis, like when he was at his best, and we all hope that he'll come somewhere close to that. I don't think that he ever will get back to like that level that we saw before his first ACL. But we all, I think it's what you were saying is that like he should at least be given a chance. But again, like, I mean, to be clear, I'm not supporting one or the other here. I think they're two sides to the coin. But the thing that really did disappoint me with him is the fact that I think he's made mistakes in terms of his role. Like he's club captain, and while I have said in the past that I don't think that he's a player that can lift that weight and pressure of being club captain.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you think that affected him when that got put on him? Because you can see he hasn't been playing freely at all with that, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, no, mate. I've said it. I'm not sure if I've said it on the show before, but like my opinion on that predates this show. I think that it's too heavy of a burden for him. I think Fortounis is a player that you just put on the pitch and you tell him go and play football, mate. Like do your thing. I don't think
floating 10.
Yeah, he's not the type of player that you say, Costa, I want you to be captain. I want you to lead by example. I want you to be vocal on the pitch. Nah, none of those things. Like Costa never like gave me that feeling. Like just gave me that put him on the pitch and let him do his job, and don't give him too much like added responsibility. Just let him play.
I think the biggest teller was, and I'm not sure if you've picked up on this, but every time he scored a penalty, and he's run over to the Thrylos, and you can see it in his face, the relief. Like come on, he's trying to will himself to he's trying to get everyone behind him, because I feel like he's buckling under the pressure of the captaincy. And the pressure of everybody sort of saying, come on, mate, you need to lead by example. You're the captain, you're this, you're that. When really it's what you said, it's go out there, play football. Because when he does that, he naturally leads anyway, just by his talent and the things that he does on the pitch. If you look at the second season, that AC Milan game, like I can't remember if he was captain in that game or if Omar was still around.
I think he was.
Yeah, but that game there, he wasn't vocal at all. It was the football that did the talking, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, he missed the penalty. Oh, sorry, he scored the penalty, but before that, he created chance after chance after chance. He even missed a good chance himself. But it was his football that did the talking. It wasn't him yelling and screaming like, maybe, let's say, a Djordjevic in his later years, who was a more vocal captain. He still had the talent, but in his later years, he wasn't running up and down a wing. It was, controlling things. So, yeah, no, I really wanted to get on and talk about that, because I feel like a lot of people discount the fact that the captaincy burdened him a lot in the last 2 years, in my opinion. And some players are made for it. They thrive under that sort of pressure, and they love rising to that occasion. I just don't think that he does. I think it's to his detriment. It hinders his ability on the field. He's thinking too much about, I need to lead these players, rather than I want the ball at my feet and I want to create. So, yeah, I feel I'd be really upset if they get rid of him, even if it's, have him on the bench, man. Like he made the bench the other day. You're saying in the Balk game, he made the bench. If he's good enough to make the bench, knowing what we know about Martins and how his, routines are in regards to training, and if you're not training well, you don't make the squad and all this sort of stuff. If he's good enough to make the squad, you're telling me he can't displace somebody out of that midfield like Bukhalaki, or, Yeah, it goes back to what you said at the start of the show in regards to formations and just picking one and settling on one, and bringing in talent to sort of fit that formation. So, the start of last year at 4-2-3-1 and Fortounis at the 10, and it was working well up until the ACL in the preseason. So, what do you do? These things happen.
That's
But I just wanted to jump on and say hello as well. I haven't been on in a while, but yeah, it's I know you've probably been on for a few hours, so I'll let you get off, mate. But have a good rest of the week, and we'll chat soon.
Good to hear you. Good to hear you, John. Thanks very much for tuning in, mate. Take care. See you next time.
Yes, mate.
Nasakala. That was Johnny Tsabukas calling in from Australia. 7 a.m. over there. Fantastic. And the guy's just coming from the gym too. Big ups, John Tsabukas. Big ups to the Olympiacos, massive in Australia. Olympiacos, global phenomenon, guys. Gate 7 International. That's what we do. Bring together Olympiacos fans from all over the world, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, tell your friends. Help us. Come on. Bam Magis. Look at these guys. Manos, G7 tuning in. Yasser and Mano. Got to study, guys, but I'll join at some point in another show. Come on, man. Andreas Mitzis. Ali Fora Costa, need to sleep now. Kaliniftas, that's great work. Nasakala, Andrea. Hope to get you on the show one time as well. Like, if you guys are like worried about your English or whatever, we've told you guys many times before, for fuck's sake. Like, we speak Greek too. It's an English show, but like, okay, we can speak some Greek. We can help you improve your English. Come on, guys. Okay. I'm gonna say it one last time, all right? Like, I'm here for you guys. Like, αν θέλετε να εκφράσετε τον πόνο σας, you want to get something off your chest, or whatever, I'm dropping the link one more time. I'm going to read through the comments. I'm going to start wrapping things up. But if one of you wants to come and join me, have a chat, the link's there. One last time. All right. Manos coming back now. So he's saying, come on, leave it out, mate. Why does Carvalho press the ball? Yeah, so you're saying this in relation to Fortounis. I said it earlier, man, I think just before you tuned in. They're basically the similar kind of player. They're both kind of lazy. They're both creative. They see things happening on the pitch. They make things happen on the pitch. So, yeah. No, you don't need to convince me, mate. It's over. Like, it's over. Like, I think just the thing with Martins and him, it's over. And I think that's mutual too. I think Fortounis has had it with Martins, and Martins is over Fortounis as well. You know what, guys? Nobody questions Costa's quality. Even the manager. When the Portuguese press asked him years ago, I think it was Portuguese press, like, who's the most talented player that you've worked with, like, over in Greece? Like, undeniably, Costas Fortounis. Yannem Vilas gone on record, like loads of his teammates. Like, there was the Padense comment in an interview that, you know, he's by far the Greek player with the most quality, but he's lazy. He said that publicly. So I don't know, guys. Maybe his teammates were fed up of him as well. That's a problem in the dressing room. And that also goes back to kind of what I said about, like it or not, that Martins is making a choice to get rid of him also because he wants to have control in the dressing room, and he wants to cultivate that atmosphere that they had in the first season. If you have disgruntled players or alienated players that have either been alienated by him or by themselves, it doesn't help the dressing room. Δυστυχώς, unfortunately for Costa. And James Howlett is saying Fortounis apologized for his behavior. He accepted losing his shirt number, captain's armbands. James is also saying just because he's low profile doesn't mean he's not suitable for captain. I expressed my opinion, you expressed yours. I always felt like it was too much pressure for him. I said, like I said to Johnny, for me, he's the type of player that you don't burden him with that. Go out and do your job, mate. play your football, create for the team. He's not even if he does lead by example in terms of his playing. Nah, not for me. He's not my kind of captain. But then again, I grew up with, my concept of, or my prototype, prototypo, my idol kind of captain or role model was Roy Keane when I was growing up watching football. So that's my standard. My standard for what I want from a captain is Roy Keane. He had his moments in the dressing room too. And in the end, that's what got him, kicked out of Manchester United. He thought he was bigger than the manager, but he was a very different kind of captain. But he was vocal on the pitch. He led by example, made big tackles, woke up the players around him by his actions on the field, not only his words, but his actions on the field made his words louder and more impactful. So that's the kind of captain that I like to see. Yeah. What else we got? Mano, promise I'll join at some point, even for a short time. Promise made. At this point, I have nothing to comment on the football club. Just wait and see. We don't care if he is lazy. Arkina Pastelloni. Camara, Mano says, also late to team meetings, but he's the child of Martins. I mean, he was also reprimanded, left out the squad for, was it 1 or 2 games? I think he was left out of the bout game, if I remember well, last season. But I remember I also kind of asked the question, why is it, if he wants to make an example out of him, then is it really enough to just leave him out of the squad for 1 game? I don't know. In any case, guys, we've gone on almost an hour and a half now. For those of you that are tuning in a little bit later, we've talked about the draw. We talked about Maccabi Haifa. We talked about our record with Israeli teams, etc., etc. Discussed around that issue. Really should be winning. We've talked about what's going on with transfers. We've talked about the backroom stuff. We've talked about Arabi. We ended up talking a hell of a lot about Fortounis again. I don't think we haven't done a live since the news dropped. If you want to go back and listen to the recorded episode podcast that I did, it's not very long. It's like 9-10 minutes long. Go and check that out as well. What else we got? We've got basketball. It's 2-0 in the series. And Tyler Dorsey wants to go on vacation early. And on Friday, it's a sellout crowd. The game's already sold out on Friday at the Peace and Friendship Stadium at Sef. And we need to bring out the sweeps and get this job done. So, guys, hopefully we will be back on the weekend with another live. Hopefully, with a full team in attendance. And I do hope that we will be joining you live on the weekend, having completed the domestic double in basketball. Who knows? Maybe we've made a transfer by then. Ari can get onto his deep dives. Have you guys forgotten about the deep dives? Got some good deep dives coming this season, hopefully for you guys. So again, thanks very much for watching, guys. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell. Make sure you don't miss the future episodes. You hit the bell, you'll be notified every time that we do go live. My name's Costa. We are Gate 7 International. Until next time, Kalovradi, wherever you are. Kalimera, Χαιρετισμούς.